1. Good morning and welcome back once again to Jack's Tech Corner and Photography Weekly. This is episode number 57 for Sunday, May 13th, 2012. Happy Mother's Day, everybody out there. And there's a lot of mothers out there that watch this show, so happy Mother's Day to you. So what's coming up in today's show? What shall we learn? Today we're going to make a magazine cover. You know, my neighbor was asking me the other day, said, Jack, I got some pictures from this photographer, and he makes a really cool magazine cover, and I thought we could do that in a couple easy steps. So I'm going to show you how to make a magazine cover, and we can even save that magazine cover and reuse it later on. So it's not going to be all your work will not be lost. Also, in working on a Google Google Hangout the other night there, we were talking a little bit about jigsaw puzzles, and a few of us sat down. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. We were making jigsaw puzzles out of pictures. So I thought, let me show you today how to turn your picture into a jigsaw puzzle. And if you were there the other night, Charmaine, hang in there with us, because I'm going to show you a couple new little twists that I put on it to make it even more interesting. Then we'll have our tribute to our assignment, which was Spill. We did that assignment 2 weeks ago. And then we'll bring you up this week to give you the new assignment for this week. So, gang, let's get started here with Photography Weekly, episode number 57. Okay, well, hey, welcome back, everybody. Sorry about last week, not being in there. I put the word out on Facebook, on Google Plus, and I also threw a message up on Twitter last week stating that we weren't here because I had to do some work around the house. We've been looking for a landscaper for about 2 years. Somebody has one of those little Bobcat backhoe things, and he happened to want to come out last Sunday at 10 o'clock. So I had no choice. We had to go outside and get that project done. He needed my help, so actually myself and my daughter worked with him and got the front yard dug out. And I'll have some pictures up on the Facebook wall there if you want to follow that later on. As I said, happy Mother's Day. Man, it's great that you guys, I see a lot of the moms in here hanging out with me this morning. Apparently your kids already brought your breakfast in bed. They got all your pancakes out of the way, and you got those all they're doing the dishes now for you and cleaning that up. And they're throwing some laundry in and probably even vacuuming your house. So you have time to hang out here and learn a little bit about Photoshop elements. That's great. Let's go ahead now. We're going to give our official shout outs. If you're not in the chat room, if you're just watching this show on Vaughn Live here and just checking us out, don't be scared. Put your name in there. Start chatting. We'd love to hear from you and get your name up there so we can see who you are and maybe even where you're from. So let me try to read this because the chat window is a little bit small here. We got One Animal, Brian, Cheryl, Charmaine, Debbie, Deception01, Hugh, Jeff, Jody, June, Pete, Serena, looks like Sly One, and Time Warner. Well, there you go. We got a bunch of folks in there this morning, and hopefully we got some more even watching there that's being kind of quiet. But don't be. Go ahead and join in the chat room because there's a lot of fun to be had in here. People chat as I'm doing these tutorials, and it's just a good time. So this morning we're going to learn two different types of editing here that we can use in Photoshop Elements. Now I am using Photoshop Elements 10. I didn't test these in other versions. Every week I get these. Jack, I have version 6. Will that work? The best thing I can tell you to do is to go ahead and try it and see what happens. So with that said, we're going to do two types of editing today, folks. We're going to look at magazine covers. Why would you want to do this? They're pretty cool. And if you have anybody in sports, ballet, I even do them for weddings. You put on the top, the Bride of the Year. Brides seem to love them. They sell very well, and they're easy to make. And then jigsaw puzzles. Did you ever see one of those pictures that's cut up in jigsaw puzzles? You're wondering, how did they do that? Well, You can do it in Photoshop Elements. It's built in and it's ready for you to do, but I'm going to add a little twist on it this morning to make it even a little bit more interesting, and I'll show you that in just a few minutes. So let's go ahead. We're going to switch over to the other computer here, and we're going to get started. So when we do that, as always, I don't follow the chat room until after the segment is done. So let me go ahead and switch over here, and we will get started. All right. We are going to lose these earbuds here. So I will try to watch the chat room as much as possible there anyway to see if anything goes horribly wrong with my audio. But we'll work with that. Let's bring up elements on the screen here. So if you want to go full screen, now's the time to go ahead and do that. And this is what we're going to come up with. Now, there's a lot of different variations we can do with this, a lot of different things we can add to it. But this is kind of my base that I like to work with. We're going to work with this and show you how you can actually make this magazine cover. But then I go one step further. I'm going to show you how you can save the magazine cover so you can reuse it over and over and over. So let's go ahead first of all. We're going to go up here and we are going to revert this image back to its original form. Okay, so this is our original image. Now, all a magazine cover is, and when my neighbor said, "Oh, Jack, do you think you could do something like that? That looks pretty involved." You know, it's not as bad as you think. But what we're going to show you is how to save it so you can reuse it. I think that's really, really important. So, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you do here, you have this image. We have to duplicate the background image. So I just do a Control or Command J. Once again, we're using Photoshop Elements, and this is version 10, but I imagine it's going to work all the way back down to probably even version 5 or 6. Just imagining. Let's go ahead and add some text first. So I took this text box here and I added some text up here. I'm going to add some text here. And I'm sure some of you out there have done scrapbooking. It's about the same thing. The only thing we're going to do is put one little twist on it. We're going to raise the font level up here. We'll say 72. We'll see what it looks like. And I don't like black for this. We're going to use white. You can use whatever colors you want, folks. And I called it Softball Times. All right. As always, if you want to change the fonts, just highlight it. Come up here and you can change the font to whatever you want to make it. Let's go up here. See what that looks like. Not bad. And here's a trick too that I found. If you want to, the font size here, when you pull this down, you can see where it says 72. But you know what? You could type in here whatever you want it to be. Those are like presets. So let's type in here and say, instead of 72, we'll make it, let's try 85. You say, well, that looks pretty good, but what does 100 look like? You could type 100 in there. Now, let's go back to 75, maybe 80. 80 looks fine. Then just click the checkbox. Okay, now with that on there, you can see over here, it started its own layer. There's a new layer right here. And that layer is very important to how we're going to actually save this thing out after. So we have the background layer here, which you can shut that off. You don't even need to worry about that. And then you have layer 1, which is our copy. And now we have Softball Times, which is a layer on its own. What I like to do is I like to use a simple layout here, a simple bevel, and click Apply. Now, if your bevel is not showing up here under Effects, you can see right here where it says Layer Styles. Click the pull-down menu and show bevels. There's the bevels right at the top. Right there. Double-click the little FX. And that's a style setting. You could take the bevel up here. I'd like to show you a little bit. Could show you that maybe a little blowed up, but you should be able to see it okay. Just pull this down here on my... Alright. So go ahead and raise the bevel up a little bit and see if you like it anymore. We'll get right about there. This is all personal taste. You don't have to make it 18% because mine is 18%. It's all personal taste. Next, let's add a little drop shadow. You know magazine covers usually have a little drop shadow on their letters. Let's do that. You can make this far away, as far as the size or the distance. Look, we can make it way over here. That looks kind of silly though. Let's bring it back. Now the one thing I noticed, if you notice here, the shadow is going to the left of the letter. And there's a reason for that. The reason for that is your lighting angle to put that shadow in a different place. Watch the shadow as we move this little wheel here around the other way. So what we're saying here, I like it at the top. We're saying the light's coming more from that angle right there. Wherever that arrow is pointing is where the light's coming from. And it's casting over there and casting the shadow behind it and down. I kind of like it that way. Now I'm going to drop the distance just a little bit because I never like it that far away. Right like that. That looks pretty good. So at that point, I'm just going to click OK. Now there we go. We have our title up there, Softball Times. Next, we're going to add some text on here because a magazine usually has some text, right? So let's put a text box over here. And what I will warn you about, when I first did this lesson, I was like, wow, that's really cool, but my text was the same size as up here. When you look at a magazine cover and you open that magazine up, the text, on the cover is never the same size as what it is up on top. So let's change that. We'll do about an 18. And this text, we're going to make it black. Let's see what that looks like. This is our softball champ of the year. Okay, she is batting over 560. Let's say that. Let's leave it at that. Now you see it's very small. If it's too small, just highlight it. Bring it up some. There's 36. That looks better. And the black on that black does not look good, but we're going to move that anyway. So let's just move it down a little bit. I'm using the move tool up here in the left. A lot of people say, Jack, you click around there so fast, bud, we don't know what you're saying. So for the new folks out there, the move tool up here allows us to move pieces or layers around on top of other layers. So we're going to move this text down a little bit. Now we can see it. All right. I can see I got a little problem right there. I put an O in there for some reason. And click the checkbox. Now, that does look pretty good. You're saying, wow, that looks like a magazine cover, right? Or it looks like it could actually be a page to a scrapbook. But it kind of looks like a magazine cover. But what are we missing? Here's a little trick that I like to put on these things that we are missing. And let me bring it up here. If you go to Google and do a search for images here for barcodes. Really, it doesn't matter which barcode you pick. We're not going to scan this thing, or it doesn't really mean anything. It's very much decorative. But you're going to just simply just left click on one of these barcodes. And then over here where it says full size image, and click on that. Let's go back. I hate when they bury a link inside of a link like that. Go back here. All right. Let's grab another one. We'll grab this one. And when you click on it, then click on full size image over here on the right. Then right click on it and do a save image as. And you see I already saved that one in there. So you just save it. I made a folder called barcodes under pictures so I can find them. Just easy way of doing things. Just replace that. All right. Looks good. Minimize that out of our way. Oops. Got too many windows going on here this morning, as you can see. We're going to actually open this up and close it. All right. So now we have to do is we're going to click on our file, and then we're going to open. This is why I like to make sure I know where I put them. So I go to Pictures, Barcodes, and you can grab that barcode we just downloaded, which was this one, and click on Open. Now, folks, it's going to go ahead and open itself on a new image. So we have to copy this image over. So do a Select All, or Command or Control A if you like to use the keyboards. Edit. Do a copy. Let's bring up our picture we're working on. Edit, and we're going to paste it. Now we're just going to move this into place. If it looks a little big, you can always shrink it down a little bit if you feel you want to do that. All right. Now, the last thing you really want to do to this, and you can add more text in here if you want to put, like, something more about softball or catcher's mitts or however you want to make this up. The next thing we're going to do with this is we are going to crop it down a little bit. And there you have your nice, very easy to make magazine cover. And like I said, you can make these with anything. The thing that makes it the magazine cover is the barcode on the bottom. I mean, that's pretty obvious. That's a magazine cover. Now, that's all well and good. And you're saying, Jack, that looks really nice, but let's go ahead now. We want to save this because we want to reuse this. Well, first save this picture as the original picture. So here we go. Let's go File. We're going to Save As. And we're going to save this picture, the whole picture, magazine cover. We're going to save as a JPEG. Now be careful and watch this part because you're going to get a little confused. Okay, mag cover. I'll make 3 on there because I don't even know how many I made. I would suggest running up to a large file size. You can see there it's 5.7 megabytes, but when you go to print this thing out, you want it to look really nice and high resolution. So click OK. You want that to be really a good resolution on there. Okay, now we have that. Now we want to save our work here, our magazine cover that we worked so hard on making. We want to save that stuff so we can reuse it. Now, to do that, we first take the 2 layers at the bottom. We're going to double click that layer to unlock it. Delete these 2 layers at the bottom. Delete that one. And delete that one. All that's left now is our basic magazine cover. And the reason I say that is you can see everything behind there is transparent. Now, if you want to make a magazine cover from scratch, this is a great way to do it right here. You take a transparent file and you just start adding your text, adding everything to it, and you can save this. But when you save it, be very careful. And here's the piece I told you really got to watch. Watch what I do on this. First, I'm going to select all 3 of the layers because I want all the layers in there. Next, I'm going to go File, Save As. We are going to save as, and I believe under Pictures, I think I made a folder in here under Pictures. Called Mag Covers for magazine covers. And we'll give us a name. We'll say main cover softball. Here's the part, folks. Do not change this to a JPEG. Do not change this to a JPEG because what happens is it'll compress those down and that background become white because it's getting it ready to print. If you save it as a PSD, it'll stay exactly as you see it on your screen, and that background will be transparent. Click Save. Okay, so let's close this. We're going to close this. Yeah, we don't need our barcode anymore. And we're going to open. We are going to open. And let me find that softball picture. Just locate that softball picture we were just in. And I'll find that in just a minute. No, I don't want those ones. Alright, so we're going to use this picture. I'll open that. Alright. Now let's go ahead. Let's say we got this picture and we want to rebuild that whole thing, but we don't have to do it from scratch now. If we go to File, Open, let's go to Pictures. This is why it's very easy, or very important also, folks, to name your folders so you know where everything's at. Keep everything nice and together. Let's go down here to Mag Covers. And the one we just made was Main Cover, PSD. And let's open it. And there's our cover. So now we have it ready to go. Do a Select All. Image. Copy merged. What that means, it's going to copy all that stuff merged together. Alright. Let's open up our softball player. And we are going to do Edit. And we are going to do Paste. And there you go. Just that easy. We have a magazine cover. It's back over. So this is important if you go out, you're doing a shoot somewhere for a softball team, for cheerleaders, anything like that. Or even if you're at the wedding, you take some different shots of like brides. You know, I use like bridal times I put on there. You could also crop it like we did before. We're going to crop it right about here. And you can see it makes a very nice magazine cover. So again, it's very, very easy to do. It's very nice to have those. And I know Jessica actually does a lot of scrapbooking. Same thing. If you want to make those scrapbook pages, make those pages with those transparent backgrounds. You can just drop those in wherever you want those titles to be, and anything else in there. Here's one other trick too. If you wanted to open it up this way, let me show you one other trick to make this even more interesting to you. I'm going to take this one and revert it. All right. Now I'm going to take this here. I'm going to select all. We're going to reverse this. We're going to copy it. Let's go to this one where we have all of our layers. And we're going to deselect that. Now we're going to do those edit, and we're going to paste. Now it's on top, but here's something interesting for you. Pull this all the way down to the bottom. We have the same thing, right? But there's only one difference here, folks, and this is the difference. This text now, right here. See if we can. You can actually edit that text just by double clicking. So you save it as a PSD file, and it's still very much a way you can edit those files and do what you want to with them. So hopefully that's and Debbie got lost on the copy merged. Followed along just before that. Okay, so if you copy merge, what we did was, I'm going to go back here just real quick here. Since I have time, we're going to show you this. We delete this layer out. What we did here, we took this here, we selected all of these layers over here. So the first layer is selected on the bottom. I held my shift key down, click on the top layer and select all those layers. All right. Then we go over to edit. Oh, wait. First we go to select all. because everything has to be selected in there. Edit, and we're going to copy merged. The reason we're going to do that is we want to have all of those sections. We want to have all the words on there, as well as the transparent background with our barcode. So that's merged. It's going to merge those together for us. Then we came back to our picture here. I'm going to just deselect that so we don't see anything around there. Edit, and we're going to paste. It's going to paste that merged. If you see here now, over here, it's one layer. It merged all those layers together. That's why you see it that way. And then I just simply did a crop. And we cropped this off right here. Just like so. So hopefully that helped you out there, Deb. I seen you had a little question there. Okay, and Jody, you might have to refresh it. You said your screen is frozen. Nobody else is reporting that. Thank goodness. Bring us back up here. So that was a nice little way. Jessica says she also uses some techniques like that for scrapbooking, as I figured, because I know you're a big scrapbooker. And let's see here. Pete said full screen was not good. What happened to the full screen, Pete? Hopefully it worked out for you okay. Unless your resolution is way high. But what about saving to a PNG, Cheryl? I usually do not save the PNG files. I usually save either to JPEG or PSD. So that's just my way of doing things. Okay, very good. I see a lot of folks out there having some trouble or having some issues with going full screen. Sorry about that. I don't know if anybody from Vaughn Live is watching there. Maybe they can help you out with why that's happening. I'm not sure. Maybe it's something to do with Internet Explorer. Maybe you can try to use Firefox. You guys can maybe let me know if Firefox is any different. I don't know. You can also try Google Chrome to see if you have any luck there at all. So that was a good segment. Jessica's talking in there about she needs to get a 30-minute segment together. She did co-host this show one time in the past. And it would be great to have her co-hosting again. I'd really like to get her in there to show you more of her scrapbooking techniques, and they're very, very good. So Serena says Google Chrome is fine. So there you go, guys. If you want to download Chrome, maybe have that available for next week. Then when you go full screen, you can see everything going on. And Jake the Snake said there's no banner in Firefox either. And that's my little banner, I guess, at the top says Jack's Tech Corner. So when you click on that full screen button, it's only in Internet Explorer, which in the technical field, we call that Internet Destroyer or Internet Exploder. So we call it a couple different nicknames there for it that most people don't like it. Use Firefox and try Chrome and see how that works out for you. Okay, very good, folks. So now we're going to go into this next segment. And this next segment was brought mainly by Charmaine, I think, started the whole thing the other night. And then myself and Kevin actually jumped in and we started working together on building a jigsaw puzzle. We came up with a solution, but it wasn't the best solution. And I'm going to show you why. There's an awful lot of steps to this next tutorial, so bear with me. Take your time. You can jot notes down, or I am recording this for YouTube so we can rewind it and you can watch it later if you need to catch up and do it again. So once again, there's a lot of steps. I got a bunch of notes I'll be reading from that I did when I was setting this whole thing up for us to do jigsaw puzzles. But I think I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And if you've been wondering why I didn't do the picture-in-picture today when I'm doing the tutorial, the main reason is I'm also recording the screen. It's called a screencast. And in that way, what's going to happen is when I put this on YouTube, you'll see it in a lot better detail. So that's why I don't want to put my face on there, because then I have to figure out something to do with that. So I'll just I'll talk our way through it. You guys can listen as we work on these. All right. So, and Jeff said there's no problems with IE. He's having an okay time with that too. So whoever was having trouble with that, looking back up through there, I'm sorry. Maybe try to refresh your screen and try to get started. Okay, folks, here we go. Here is Jack, me, right, with a couple missing pieces you see there. And that's kind of cool, but myself and Kevin looked at this many times, and what we noticed was the puzzle pieces are very small. Now, doing it this way, the reason the puzzle pieces are very small is because if you look at the actual texture that we used to make this thing, it is very small. In other words, it's very, very low resolution, and it looks absolutely horrible. Now, there's two ways you could fix this. One is you can take your picture, take the resolution down to, say, 100, and then it looks pretty good. When you print it, it's going to look pretty bad because your resolution of your picture, you know, these digital cameras are shooting what? What are we shooting now, folks? I mean, anywhere from 10 to 20 megapixels on these cameras. We don't want to waste that. We want to make sure that we have plenty of megapixels, and we want our puzzles to be printed the same way our pictures would be. Very, very nice with great detail. Now, with that said, we are going to go ahead and not do it this way. And if you wanted to know how we did it this way, all we did was we went to filter, we went down here to texturize, and right here, texture, and then texturize. Oops. We clicked on that, and this box comes up right here. So if you want to do it that way, it's very easy to do this. And then you click on this little box over here, this little, if you can see that, just this little arrow. It says load texture, and you would find that texture in your textures and load it. Now, here's the catch. The texture comes with Photoshop elements, but it's not preloaded. I don't know why. We haven't figured that out, but that's the case. That's why you have to click on here and load texture. If you guys are working along or if you're writing notes, here's where the textures are. I'm going to give you your path. Now, this happens to be on a Mac. So for the Mac folks out there, here you go. It's Applications. All right. Go down here to Adobe Photoshop Elements 10. Support Files, Presets, and Textures. That's where you'll find the puzzle at. The puzzle piece is right here, puzzle.psd. So again, it's a Photoshop file. Now for my Windows folks out there, it's going to be Program Files, Program Files. It's going to be Adobe Photoshop Elements 10, Support Files, Presets, and Textures. So it's the same way. The only thing with the Mac is it's called Applications. On the Windows, it's called Program Files. Remember those paths. You're going to need them in just a few minutes. So you could do that. You could scale this up to 200, make this 26. Cancel because it's already here. And I don't know if I could blow this up on your screen or not. Nah, I can't. Okay. But you see how little those pieces are. So let's go ahead and get moving on to my next tutorial. Go to this one. Now look how much nicer this one looks. Can you see the bigger puzzle pieces on there? You're like, wow, Jack, that looks more impressive. That looks more like a puzzle. All right. So now to go through all these steps, keep your notebooks handy, keep your pencils going. And we're going to get started. So let's go up here, click on Edit, and Revert. Goodbye, picture. I really liked you. But now we get to start over. So we bring up our picture in the morning. We're like, well, we're ready to do some editing. Yeah, that's great. Let's make a jigsaw puzzle. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds like a lot of fun. So the first thing we're going to do is do a Command or Control J and duplicate that background layer. Next, click on the background layer. Over here on your color palette. Jack, what's a color palette? You never mentioned that before. Well, here, folks. Right over here, there's you see my right now is black and black. Click on that top little thing. The default color palette is black over white. And then we're going to click this little arrow and flip it. So we got white over black. White is your foreground color. Black is your background color. White is foreground. Black is background. What we are going to do now is take that background and we're going to edit, fill layer. Okay, that's a layer. Let's fill it. We're going to fill it with our foreground color, which is white. Once you have that done, click on layer 1. Okay, the background layer is done. Click on layer 1. Now, with layer 1 selected, what are we going to do now, Jack? Well, we're going to go ahead and create a new layer. Why? Because we want to add the effect on the new layer that's transparent, because when we start cutting some pieces out, we want this to show through, and we'll get there in just a minute. Okay. Now, does everybody remember where the path is to your puzzle pieces? Do you? Well, we have to go open that now. So go to File, Open. All right. Applications if you're on a Mac. Program Files if you're on Windows. Adobe Photoshop Elements 10. Or 6 or 5 or whatever you're on. Now, I'm not sure if these puzzle pieces came in anything below 9, folks. I'm not sure. You might want to write in the chat room if they are there. If you're using 6 or 7, let me know because I'm not sure. Support files. Presets. Presets are everything we've worked with over the years here. Brushes, color swatches, whatever. Textures. And we're going to open up this puzzle PSD. There's our puzzle pieces right there, folks. Click on Open. Now, that's all well and good. Now we have the puzzle pieces open. Now what we need to do is we're going to take those puzzle pieces. Andy says he cannot see the layers. Is everybody else seeing the layers okay? Make sure we're on here. Hopefully you can see the layers. They're on the left. On the right. Andy said he cannot see the layers for some reason. I don't know why that is. And Jessica says her pop-up keeps going back to regular. Now what you could do there is actually drag that pop-up window out instead of hitting full size. Okay, Cheryl says you can. Okay, everybody else can see the layers there. Okay, good. Now we're going to move on. So with that done, let's go up to select what? Select all. You guys are good. You're on top of this morning. You're very good and you know what we're doing now. So we did a select all. Now we're going to do an edit, copy. We're going to open up, go back to that picture we're working on here, this picture, and we're going to paste that on our new layer. Edit, paste. Now, as you can see, can you see that? Can anybody see that? Look how small that is. That's how small those pixels are. That's when we put that on a really blown up picture, our puzzle pieces are so little. That's why. I know it takes me a while to figure things out, but then I'm like, whoa, brainstorm. That would be why. So we're going to make that bigger. We're going to make those puzzle pieces larger. So let's go ahead and do that. We're on this layer. Click on Image, Transform, and Free Transform. Now let's just pull this puzzle piece out. And if you go over the edges, that's okay, because remember, we're making it bigger. That's what we want to do. Make those pieces bigger. And we're going to make sure we move it around so the edges are on there. You don't want like pieces of puzzle on the edge. That usually doesn't make sense. It looks pretty good there. I think that's convincing. Let's click the OK button there on the bottom or hit your Enter key. And now we have the puzzle pieces on there. Now, And those look nice because they're nice and big. They're easy to see. That's what you want. You want that effect, right? That's what we want to do. Now, here comes some fun parts. Now what we're going to do is we know that our puzzle pieces are laying on a transparent layer. But it's white covering the picture. The picture's still there because it's on its own layer. There's the white. Now we have to do is get rid of this white. And the way I did that was I used my magic wand tool. I clicked on the white and look what happens. I thought, oh man, this is bad for tutorial, Jack. You just messed it all up. Because only one piece is selected. Do I got to select every piece? Wow, that would be pain. Now, you know what? Photoshop Elements has a lot of tools built in. Let's use one now. Select. Similar. Right? Everything that's white, we want to select. There we go. It's all selected. Now what we do is we hit the delete key. And look. Let's go up to deselect. Select. Deselect. The puzzle pieces are now there. They're all showing up on top of our picture. And they're large. Wow, we did a good job. We could probably be done now. Nah, that wouldn't be a Jack's Tech Corner Photography Weekly edit if we were done now. Right? Anybody could do that. We have to make it more interesting. Okay. Bear with me. These are where my notes are coming in really handy right now. Next, what we want to do here is we want to add a little bit of indentation on that. Because right now it just looks like a bunch of black lines on our picture. Yeah, it looks like a jigsaw puzzle, but it's not really a jigsaw puzzle. So now we're going to click on our layer styles. Make sure you're set to bevels, like we did earlier with the title. But this time we're going to use an inner bevel. And we're going to add that right to this particular layer itself. Click apply. And you can see now it starts to chop it up a little bit. It starts to give it a little bit more character. Double click that. And now we can actually take this and we can actually move this and we can make this deeper if we want. More of a bevel, or bring it back a little bit. I like to bring it up just enough where it looks like those pieces, you know, like when you put paper or a puzzle together, how it has that little ridge on it, that lip. I like it to look like that with that little bit of lip on it. The angle of the light you can move a little bit. You can move that around. If you're watching it there, you can see where it makes the certain edges a little bit whiter. Again, this is to taste. That's at 160%, or 160 degrees is on the lighting. Again, it's totally up to you however you want to do that. Once you have that part of it done, let's go ahead and click OK. Now with that done, what I want to do is, and hopefully this works out for me, okay, bear with me. We're going to merge these two layers here, this layer with layer 1. So let's go over here. Let's do an edit. I'm sorry, layer. Go to layer. Merge down. And we should merge down here to 1. There we go. Now we're down to 1 layer. We have our puzzle pieces on top of our ball player. It looks like a jigsaw puzzle. Okay, and Jessica said, please say what that is. What that is when saying that. Saying that. Let me go back here. All right, let me step back, folks. Undo, merge down. So we're clicked on, that might have been the lighting angle. We got the lighting angle set. That was in FX. The lighting angle here we changed to 160. And we click OK. Now with layer 2 selected, layer 2 is selected. We go to layer pull down menu, the pull down menu for layer, click merge down. We're going to merge those two layers down. And now we have one layer on top of the white layer. So hopefully that helps. Thanks for stopping me there. Now what we need to do is we need to pull one of these pieces out of here. All right, that's what we want to do now. I'm going to use my regular quick selection tool for this, and I'm using the plus. I'm sorry, I had the minus selected on there. So there we go. We have the puzzle piece selected. What we're going to do now is, with that puzzle piece selected, is we are going to go to Layer, New Layer via Copy. And then if you hold your Command or Control key down and click on that, it'll reselect that. Come back to Layer 1 and hit your Delete key. What that did, very easily there, we're going to shut this off. You can see that it now made a white hole in there. Our puzzle piece is on Layer 2, right, which is our new transparent layer. So this is our puzzle piece. With that selected, what we want to add now to this, since it's selected now, okay, we are going to go back up here to our layer styles, pull that down, and click on Drop Shadow. You want to add a shadow, which either a low or soft edge would work. Click Apply. Let's try low. Or for some reason the drop shadow is not working in there. There we go. Now we can add our drop shadow in here. A little bit of size there. And what you're doing here, it actually looks like the light shining through onto your backdrop now. That's why we made that white backdrop there. Just like that. All right. So now we have that backdrop actually set there. And now our last piece we got to do, folks, is we're going to take this layer and turn it back on. Click on it. Get your move tool up here. And let's move it out of that hole. So here's our piece now. It's floating around. It would go right there if we were building a jigsaw puzzle. We're going to move it up here. What I like to do with this piece is to give it a bevel. So let's go back to bevels. And we're going to raise it up because I want it to look like it's sitting off the paper a little bit. Just like so. I'll give it a little drop shadow. Just like this. Again. And the bevel itself. Bring it just a little bit up. Just make it have that little effect on it. Then the last thing we want to do with that piece is we're going to rotate it. And we're going to do a free transform layer. And that'll allow us to rotate it. You know, you don't want it to sit there exactly how it was. So maybe you want to rotate it. You can put it over here somewhere like this. Like you know it's your last piece of your puzzle, but you want to wait before you do anything with it. And let's go to select. Deselect everything there. And there is your puzzle. So again, it's about 10 different steps we did to walk through that to build that puzzle. But you can see the overall effect of that is a lot better than just using that texturize, and to put it that way. So I'm glad you really liked that tutorial, and hopefully you guys caught on to that. Like I said, if not, you'll be able to watch the repeat of this show on YouTube, because I will put it up there. And Debbie said it was very nice, but she had to wait for the YouTube video. That's okay. The reason I put them up there is so you guys can replay them and replay them and replay them. And you could make the back. That's a good idea, Jeff. I didn't think of that. I might do that later on to finish us off. You can make the picture itself, the canvas size, bigger. We did that before making Polaroid, and then put a couple pieces on the side. That would be a really nice trick. I think that would be really, really neat. Yeah, and the puzzle's neat, but taking a piece or two out gives it a little bit of finesse, I guess. So, that's okay. Like I said, watch the repeat later on. That's what they're for. That's why we have those reruns later. You guys are a great audience, so I tell you what, it's really fun to be able to do these tutorials for you and actually work together in learning this stuff. Hey folks, there's one thing I can let you know though. Whenever you're trying to blow these screens up full screen, you don't really have to watch the chat window. I think the chat window is like a nicety that's there, but you don't have to actually watch the chat window itself to watch the assignment, because I'm not putting anything in there. If people post questions, or if you need to post questions, I know on Windows, I think it's Control Tab, and you can switch windows. So you can switch those windows across, and then you can put your question in there. And I will bring the questions over to you guys as I see them come up, because I do have two different computers running here to see the chat window. So I hope that helps. I mean, I'm trying to make this as the best possible programming I can do with the least little bit of equipment that I have here. And I don't have a lot of high-speed internet here. We only have 768 kilobits going upstream to you guys, which is not a lot. I need about 10 meg going up, and I think we can do HD going out to you. So, well, there you have it anyway. So that's about all I can tell you about that one. So what is the assignment this week? What do you think it is? Well, let's see. We learned about magazines. And thanks, Jake. I appreciate that. I do. I appreciate you saying that. Okay, Jessica, but don't forget the assignment. Yeah, Jessica just told you what it is. The assignment this week is we're going to have either or. You could do both. You could do either or. I want puzzles and magazine covers. So there you go. Jessica, have a great day in church. I will talk to you. Thank you very much for coming. And Jake the Snake, buddy, thank you very much for giving me that feedback that the screens are okay there. So everybody has to just work the screens out. I think we'll be okay. So once again, the assignment this week is puzzles and magazines. So folks, I want to take a minute here and say thank you very, very much for watching the show and coming here to Vaughn Live, and everybody getting through this chat window issue here. I don't know how many live viewers there was today. I really didn't take a gander or take a peek at that to see how many we was up to at any given time. Well, there's 25 now, so that's pretty fair. That's a fair number of viewers here. And hopefully we're bringing our viewers with us from the other. Thanks, Jake. 27 was the total, which is very good. Very much appreciate that. But I enjoy you coming each and every week here to the show. I'm sorry, like, again, I missed last week, but things do come up. And I hope that you come back here each and every Sunday. Put us on your calendar. If you're not on our Facebook group, please join that. I put the announcement on there when the shows are coming up. The Facebook group is Jack's Tech Corner. So again, thank you for coming. I really do enjoy it. And until next time, keep those shutters clicking, keep your editors editing, and make sure you get the assignments in there. Look under the photos on the Photos tab on our Facebook, and I'll have an assignment folder to put all your assignments in there of magazines and our jigsaw puzzles. See you back here next week. Bye for now. Have a great Mother's Day.